Assalamu alaikum student. We are now going to start our third video about the biology and its major fields in the biology book. So we are going to learn about the biology and its major fields. So biology is one of the natural sciences which deals with the things that exhibit the properties of life. What does it mean? It means that this is the one field or one branch of natural sciences which is only involved in the study of the life, its properties and its functions. So all the aspects of life can be studied under the branch of natural science that is known as a biology. Scientists call these things as living organisms or as organisms. So these organisms are, because they have life, so that's why we call them as living organisms, or once they were alive, that's why we call them organisms. The word biology has been derived from the Greek words bios means life and logos means discourse. Formerly, living organisms were classified into two kingdoms. So you must remember that in previous times people were unaware about the other type of organisms, so only they divided only the organisms into two major branches. One is the plants and other one is a botany. Those organisms which were grouped in the plant section, they were called as a botany, and when those organisms which are grouped in the animal section, they were called as a zoology. So botany is a study of plants while the zoology is the study of animals. So we can see here that these two subdivisions can not fulfill the organisms properties and their classification, because when the research become advanced and with the help of microscope and electron microscope and with the help of other biomedical tools, so we now come to know that there are not two divisions of the biology, that is zoology and botany, but they are divided into the five kingdoms. In fact, nowadays recent scientists have given the more than five kingdoms of the biology, but we are stick into the five kingdoms because we are still studying in the FSc I section about the five kingdom systems. So we should stick here about the five kingdom systems, but recent research shows that the five kingdom system is the old systems. Now there are more than five kingdom systems, okay, which were described by various scientists. You can Google them and observe that how many kingdoms have been proposed by the various scientists in recent era. So first of all, these kingdoms are classified according to their properties of organisms and grouped together according to the properties of organisms. So first kingdom is kingdom prokaryota, that is also known as this old name is the kingdom monera. Second kingdom is kingdom protista, and its older name is the kingdom protista. Third kingdom is the kingdom fungi, and fourth kingdom is the kingdom plantae, and fifth kingdom is the kingdom animalia. So with the help of electron microscope and advanced studies, these organisms were further divided by Robert Whittaker into five kingdom systems, and these five kingdom systems were modified by Margolis and Scots into the kingdom and convert the kingdom monera into the kingdom prokaryota and convert the kingdom protista into the protista. So what kind of organisms include in these type of kingdoms? So first of all, we studied that kingdom prokaryota is actually belong to the all organisms who are simplest and first most primitive organisms and unicellular and unicellular organisms and most primitive organisms, and these are bacteria and cyanobacteria. It includes almost all the prokaryotes such as bacteria and cyanobacteria. And what are the bacteria we will study in chapter 6 and about the cyanobacteria, but I'm going to explain you about the bacteria are those organisms who are simplest living beings. According to the evolution, they come into the first kingdom, that is known as the kingdom prokaryota, because they are simplest organisms. They do not contain so complex material inside their body, and they have only single chromosome, and they don't possess any nuclear bound membranes, and so on. So we will study further in about the kingdom prokaryota and kingdom protista, all the kingdoms, in our further chapters. So we are stick here to describe only about the kingdoms. Second kingdom is the kingdom protista. All the organisms, unicellular organisms, which are no longer classified as animals, plants or fungi, they can be put into the kingdom protista. So those organisms which we cannot put them into the further three kingdoms, which are the kingdom fungi, plantae or animals, so we put them into the kingdom protista. So these kingdoms are actually these organisms which are coming in the kingdom protista are the unicellular organisms, and their examples are Euglena, Paramecium, Chlamydomonas, Plasmodium, okay, and multicellular algae and primitive fungi have also been included into the protista, because these are not the part of the kingdom plantae and kingdom fungi. So that's why they were placed in the kingdom protista. Third kingdom is the kingdom fungi. They are non-chlorophyllous multicellular organisms having chitinous cell wall, absorptive heterotrophs, and have non-motile spores, or we can say gametes, and its example is agaricus, mushroom, yeast, etc. They are absorptive heterotrophs. So what does it mean that about the kingdom fungi and how they are different from the kingdom plantae and kingdom animalia? They are multicellular along with the plantae and animalia, so this is their similarity. They are non-chlorophyllous. It means they are similar to the kingdom animalia because they are also non-chlorophyllous. They are multicellular except yeast, so they are multicellular like animals and plants, but they possess the cell wall, and kingdom plantae also possess the cell wall, and they are absorptive in nature, heterotrophs. So this is the difference in kingdom fungi and kingdom plantae and kingdom animals. So what does it mean? That they are heterotrophs, but they are an absorptive mode of heterotrophs, while the kingdom animalia are the ingestive mode of heterotrophs. So this is the difference between the kingdom animalia and kingdom fungi. So that's why they were put in different kingdom. Before this, these were placed in the kingdom plantae because of the cell wall, but when the scientists observed that this kingdom do not have ability to produce their own food, and they are parasitic in nature and most absorptive heterotrophs, so that's why they were placed in the separate kingdom that is known as the kingdom fungi. And they are also the non-motile like plants, and spore and gametes are also formed like plants. So with some exceptions or some differences, and they are absorptive heterotrophs. As I told you, like the animals, they are not absorptive heterotrophs, they are ingestive heterotrophs. And what is the difference between the plants and animals? That plants are those organisms which cannot move from one place to another place, but the animals can locomote from one place to another place. That's why this is the difference between the kingdom plantae and kingdom animalia. And while another second difference is from in the kingdom animalia, kingdom plantae, is that plants can produce their own food, while animals cannot produce their own food. And the plant cell possess the cell wall, while animal cell do not possess the cell wall. And if we will describe this, that it includes in kingdom plantae, it includes all the eukaryotic multicellular chlorophyllous photosynthetic autotroph having cell wall made up of primarily cellulose, zygote retained to become embryo, and exhibits heteromorphic alternation of generation, just like mosses, ferns, and we can say pines, pineapples. These are the examples of the kingdom plantae. While the kingdom animalia it includes all eukaryotic non-chlorophylous multicellular ingestive heterotrophs with no cell wall. Okay, so hydra, earthworm, human beings are the examples of the kingdom animalia. So they do not possess a chlorophyll, they do not possess the cell wall in their body, and they are heterotrophs, but they are heterotrophs of ingestive mode of heterotrophs. As you see that fungi has the absorbed mode of heterotrophs. So this is difference of fungi from that is why the fungi is different from the plants and animals. So the another paragraph shows that the scientists have discovered and named more than 1.5 million species of living organisms which exist in great variety and forms, shapes and sizes. For example, the smallest microscopic ones are bacteria, which may measure no more than 0.0001 millimeter, to probably the largest animal, whale, in the world, which may measure up to 40 meters in length and weighs about 150 tons. And trees, redwood tree is the largest tree in the world, that measuring about 300 feet in the height. So this is the variety or variation in the living organisms. The smallest organism is the 0.0001 millimeter, while the largest and longest organism is the about 40 meters in animals and 300 feet in the plants. You can see here the modern biology does not only concern with the recognition and classification of these species, but also deals with the vital structure and functional aspect of these organisms. So what are their function, what is their structure, what is their activities, how they are functioning, everything we are going to study in this biology of all the organisms. So here you observe that the variety of organisms, how these organisms are placed in separate kingdoms because of their differences, and these differences are major and they cannot be similar to the other kingdom. For example, if the kingdom prokaryota, bacteria is the simplest, it does not possess the nucleus. It means all the four kingdoms possess the nucleus. It is a little bit advanced and they are called as a eukaryotic organisms. And kingdom prokaryota organisms are called the prokaryotic organisms. And you can see here that kingdom fungi is different from the kingdom plantae and animal, as I told you earlier. So this is all about this topic about the biology and its major fields, and we discuss here the classification of the biology in the 5 kingdom systems. So thank you very much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe my channel to see the further videos and further lectures about the biology. Thank you very much.